Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me.
This is your opportunity to ask you a question.
Go on then.
Why can't a monster just burst through a wall?
Well, that's a good question.
Or a tank?
The breachable keyword on terrain gives an unfair advantage to infantry units. 3, 2, 1.
So, I disagree with that nearly completely to the point of here.
Well, go on then.
No, but
Go on then.
can I ask you a question?
You can ask me.
This is your opportunity to ask you a question.
Go on then.
Why can't a monster just burst through a wall?
Well, that's a good question.
Or a tank?
I think one of the issues that we've got in the game is that when we look at our terrain, it is literally just essentially an L shape, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen a ruined building,
It's like all over the place.
yeah, it's going to be probably a square, a block, and in that block is going to be pillars in different rooms, and there's going to be rubble. And I think the issue is we've tried to make the game like, oh, but there's not. It's like, you know, when people say, oh, but if you're not, if you're touching it, you don't count as getting cover. Well, why
Is
would
there like touching it?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Because there would be like rubble falling down on the floor. We've all played Gears of War where there's like a little wall or a little pipe you could hide behind.
If you want to talk about rules that don't make sense in the game, how come I can stand an inch away from the wall and stop somebody from just like full on just like coming in? I was saying to someone a while ago, I was like, it's equivalent of just going like, is anyone in? No. It's like, oh, okay then, sorry. I think
We'll go to the next one.
yeah, just anyone there? No. I just think that I just really don't. I don't like the keyword, but I don't think it gives an unfair advantage only because like there's so much infantry in the game.
Yeah.
That it sort of balances itself out.
Yeah.
What the ones that just baffle me is like why can't a Carnifex just burst through a ruined building?
Yeah.
And be like.
Yeah, I think that's where if there was like an ability that it had, or a stratagem or whatever, like giving it this kind of
Wide CP, oh yeah, through the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's weird that certain units have the breachable keyword, or in it, like, for example, broadsides. What are they doing?
Well, this is a perfect example of why can't a Carnifex go through a wall, but a broadside can.
What? There's no perfect rationale behind that.
Do you think they like condense themselves, so like they go like transform?
Yeah. Into like a little small letter.
So how could you walk through a solid wall anyway?
Well, I think the breachable keyword means that it would probably, let's say there was a big hole in the wall because like a bullet had gone, like a rocket had gone through it, and you're able to climb over it and climb through it. But then also, by that same logic, why wouldn't certain...
A monster.
Yeah, certain monsters,
Gulliman.
or certain cavalry or whatever.
The lion. Why can't the lion just go? Come on, kids. Let's go.
If it's a case of like they have to literally use like laser cutters to cut down the, I don't know how it.
Their pocket.
I don't know.
Right, that's breachable.
But if we didn't have it, and if infantry had to go around the building or go around the wall, we just never see them.
But we could just say everybody could go through the wall.
Yeah, but then I think you'd have to skyrocket the points of
as
certain...
long as you can fit, and then it's I'm an inch away from the wall again. Are you there? No.
well, that is the problem. You would end up with these massive bases that are, you know, trying to be halfway through the wall, right?
Yeah.
And to some extent, I think in itself, as a rule, does allow the game to have a little bit more balance around not just knights absolutely stampeding, because otherwise we'd end up playing Adeptus Titanicus, right?
Yeah.
If knights could just go where they wanted, because there's often situations where we'll have you can't even play against the army. You don't have enough damage output because if you've tailored your army to be able to fight a little bit of horde, you know, maybe the odd, you know, 1 or 2 vehicles, you can score some secondaries, you can do some psychic powers, whatever, like a nice well-rounded balanced list, and all of a sudden someone comes along with like 15 armagers, you're like, well, great, I can't kill this. At least you can just move block it, stop it from moving to go, okay, well, I'm going to lose all my models. and I'm probably not going to kill many of yours, but at least if I play well and I hide and I move, you can actually win the game.
Yeah.
And part of that is having terrain that they can't, move through.
No, don't get me wrong. Just because I don't like a game mechanic doesn't mean I'm not going to use it, because everybody else uses it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'd be a fool to say I'm not going to use this mechanic because I don't like it.
Yeah.
When everyone else does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it gives an unfair advantage.
Because
there you go.
I think if we got rid of it and we impeded the way that infantry moved around the table, or opened it up to be the opposite, I think we would literally just end up playing tank armies, monster armies, and knight armies, which for me wouldn't really feel like that's Apocalypse in my eyes.
Yeah.
And maybe in Apocalypse they should do that. I don't know.
40k is the game of little,
skirmish.
like, semi-big tanks, infantry. Like, to an extent, I know, how you look at it, I always was a bit sad when they added Lords of War into the game.
Now, if that was a question, should knights be their own army?
They should be, but what I mean is, like, when, for example, like when admittedly, I started playing 40k with the Horus Heresy, so I was used to seeing the big tanks, but I always saw 40k as like, if you want to use these big tanks, you've got to play Apocalypse. Yeah. Which, from a point of view, is a bit silly, because then it also impedes you from getting these really cool models. Yeah. And we've really seen in this edition that you've had these options to use these really cool models: Wraith Knights, Storm Surges. Yeah. The only Lords of War we really see are the named Primarchs or the Knights. Yeah. So I do think they should be their own army. I don't think they shouldn't be, because I think that adds diversity into the game. I just think the issue that sometimes you can have with Knights is that you like exactly what you said, is it's a bit of a stat check.
It is, yeah. I would rather see Knights as an ally than I would as an own army.
I think we're too far gone now in terms of that ever happening, because of now they have such a range of models, and there's so many people out there with them. Like, imagine the internet.
Imagine the
internet.
After
going, we've discontinued Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, and they're just going to be an ally.
Okay, so what about then if there was, like, I'd prefer it if in the Knights Codex that you have to have taken like some big knights.
So I like the idea of for every two armature bricks, you take one big knight.
Yeah, or like 1 to 3 or something. Yeah, that would be cool, because then we'd have at least
it sort of is 1 to 3 at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Because there's a lot of the lists you see are 9 and 1, which is 3 big. So I'm saying 3 squadrons. So do you mean 3 squadrons or 3 actual armatures?
3 individual little things.
I'd probably say 4, but only because they're boxed as 2s.
Boxed.
So 4 for every 4, you take 1 big one, and then you can. I think obviously if the points worked out, so then it didn't impede the army too much, because obviously you end up with that moment of like, oh no.
So like 2 big ones.
2 big ones,
8
little ones at the most.
Yeah. Okay. That seems about fair.
I just. But at the same time, I like the idea of 1 big one and loads of little ones as well. Not to play, but just I like the idea of it, because then it's like 1 alpha knight and then a load of little baby knights.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool.
Knights.
Next question.